So, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a bunch of microphones on deck waiting for the right review night, and we've kind of dabbled in with some of them over the time. So tonight, for the non-techies who might not be interested, bear with us. We're going to do some mic changes, and we're going to go through all 5 of them. This has been my favorite out of all the stuff that I've got out of the Long McQuaid Yorkville stuff in the last little while. This is called the Lewitt LCT 240 Pro. This is the one that I've been using now for over a year, and it's just a beautiful mic. It sort of does everything it's supposed to. And we're going to get into its big brother or big sister, the Lewitt 440, after this one, and then a couple of other ones, different types of mics, to let you know sort of what things sound like, and the difference application-wise. We'll talk a little bit about it. This man jumps in my cab one night. He's sitting at the stands. He slumps down in the backseat with his face down in his hands. Mumbled out of town addresses his old Lewitt mark till we're halfway out the highway. That's the way it goes. All the federales say they could have had him any day. They only let him hang around out of kindness, I suppose. Lefty can't sing the blues. I have switched to the Lewitt LTC 440, which I think we've already sort of acknowledged has about 12 to 15 dB more gain than the other one, so it gives you a little bit more clarity. But it does still sound very similar. I think for the extra money that you're paying for this one over the 220 is really strangely a lot about this housing, which is really quite a nice system. I wish other mic people had put so much energy into their design. But either way. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. I'm made to feel the way that every child should. Sit and listen, sit and listen. Went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me. Oh, wait, I am here all alone. Your daddy's a sailor who never comes home. And these nights get so long, and the silence goes on, and I'm feeling so tired. I'm not all that strong. The Apex 447, and again, moderate priced. Again, just check it out and see what it sounds like. That's really, it's really just about practical world application. Like a storm, you're the only one. You're the only one. You're the only one who doesn't remind me of her. It's better to be famous for the wrong I've done tonight than to be nobody all my life. There we go. I see his face forever in my dreams. I see me shoot him with a gun. It was a gift. And this is the Apex 210B. We'll be using this for the next 2 songs. I think I'm going to do so. I'll put in the notes if I'm correct or not. This might, one of these was a ribbon mic. I can't remember. I think it might have been the other one. Anyways, Apex 210B, another mid-priced one. I think this one is sort of in a couple hundred dollars range. And this will just give you an idea kind of how it sounds different, or if it sounds different. This is also a good, like the bass line that I started with, the 240, the LTC Lewitt. That's a comparable mic to a SM57 or a 58, which is what most people use all the time. You don't need to spend a lot of money on mics for live performance. SM57s and 58s will do you just fine for almost everything. Maybe a kick drum mic you need. But if you're messing around the studio or if you're doing live broadcast handling, these are some options here too. Wow. And sometimes I take small things for granted. Then other times all I can do is smile. I like to get high. I like to get higher. I like to get more. more high than I was before. I like to get stoned, I like to get stoned. Yeah, something about this mic feels good to sing into. It makes no sense whatsoever. I think this is the one that's, and I will correct it if it's wrong, I think this is the one that's fully figure eight. So you're hearing a lot of that sound of the room and this sound of the room, and it cuts out the stuff at the sides. And I will get the information to make sure that the Apex 210B is figure eight, but I do believe that's what the polar pattern is. I'll correct myself in the when I repost it. A good dog is lost. It's a sign above the counter at the corner store, with an address and a phone to call. Still in all it said, a little bit more it said. This one here is a little different, and I'll explain why. This microphone comes with its own power supply, so it has to be plugged in separately, and then the microphone plugs into a big box. It's over there on the floor. I'll put a picture of it up. And then from there's a special mic cable that goes to it, and I'll explain that as soon as I get the mic over here. So I'm just going to pause for a sec while we do a switch. Cheers. Yes, so this is a powered one.
Wow, that's sensitive.
Okay, I'll talk quiet for a second.
No, you're good.
You got it now?
I just got to do something else, but you're good.
Yeah, so this is the ART T4. So a microphone like this comes with its own power supply. And it also, what I'm understanding from the design of it, is it goes from full around directional, and it has an 8 selector. And this is a special 8-pin microphone, and it's got a selection control on the box that makes it go into 8 different polar patterns, from full round to figure 8, which is out front and behind, and to just sort of around here. I've got it set to sort of this one here, which would be the usual in this situation. If you were recording, if you were using a pair of them, there's all kinds of weird things you can do with mics. I'm not going to get into it. Just like the other mics, this is just thrown up through the same channel. The only thing Barry's adjusting on any of these mics is the gain input, right? Mm-hmm. Just getting them so that the gain is right, because microphones have different outputs. Sometimes a ton of gain gives you a ton of headroom to pull out clarity in a really quiet environment. Again, we're not in that environment. We're in sort of a semi-live environment here, and I'm just sort of demonstrating what these mics might or might not sound like in your world. But what the hell, I'm going 30 for 60, let the night swell. Somebody fix me a single malt whiskey. And I don't have the jack or the ace, but I've got on my good poker face, and I'm on my doorstep and my eyes start to fade. And I cast my head back to the room where my love and I had laid. And I gaze back to the streets and the sidewalk and the signs. I'm just one too many mornings and 1,000 miles behind. It's a restless